All right, buddy just called me who bought an 8-plex unit. He's like, man, this thing is cash flowing. I got about $1 million into it. It's cash flowing about $80K right now a year. He's like, but I got equity in it. Should I continue to live off the cash flow, or should I go put more debt on this project and take out that equity? And in this video, I'm going to share exactly what I shared with him. Hey, what's up? My name is Ellis, Hammond, full-time real estate entrepreneur and owner of a group called Symphony Capital Group. We purchased about $100 million of multifamily real estate last year and buying some more this year as well. And so, yeah, I had this buddy call me, and he owns an 8-plex, cash flowing very well, and he has equity in the deal, and he's trying to figure out, does he take that equity out of the deal, essentially taking on more debt, right? Because you got to put more debt on the project to get that equity, or should he continue to just live off the increasing cash flow? And when I told him, hey man, forget about the cash flow, you need more debt, he's like, well, that doesn't make sense. No one's ever taught me that. And I think that's the reality for most people, is that they think debt's really bad. And so what I told him was like, dude, you got to think about the velocity, the multiplication of that money. And so if you can take that equity, right? If you take on more debt, your debt payment is going to increase, so your cash flow on that property is going to decrease. That's what he was worried about. I was like, I'm making good cash flow. If I take out more debt, my cash flow is going to decrease. But I was like, you're not thinking about the multiplication, the velocity of capital, because once you pull out that equity, yeah, your cash flow in this deal is going to decrease, but now you have, I don't know, what he probably has 200, 300, 400 grand of equity in that deal. Then now he can go buy other assets that are going to cash flow, but also are going to appreciate. Because reality is he didn't sell the deal. He hasn't lost the deal. That deal is going to continue to appreciate. And guess what? The cash flow will continue to grow with inflation, with rising rents. And now he owns this asset that is appreciating, and now he buys another asset that will continue to appreciate, continue to cash flow. For sure, if you're building equity, let's say you have a home and you're sitting on a lot of equity. How much is that equity making you? The reality is probably making you zero. Here's my limit. So I do think there's some wisdom to this. I don't think you should be over leveraged. And so some of the best investors I know play the 60-40 game. And, a very conservative, I believe, very safe level of debt is around 60% loan to value, right? Meaning you have about 40% of equity and 60% of debt on the project. And what they'll do is, as you pay down your mortgage, right, as either tenants are paying it down or you're paying it down, whatever, that once you get to about, that flips, meaning you have 60% of equity and 40% of debt on the project, it's time to pull the lever. The casino lever is what I call it. It's not a casino lever, but my point is to pull that lever and begin to get that back up to 60% leverage and 40% equity, and you're going to pull out that equity. And so I think that's a really safe, that's 60-40. You can play that for your life. And so as you pay down your mortgage, and you pay it down, and now you have more equity than you do debt, it's time to get that back up. Now, 60% is still very safe. You still have 40% of equity in the deal, so maybe you're not pulling all of the equity out. But that 60-40 kind of frame keeps you very conservative and still allows you to maximize the equity that you have in the deal by pulling that out and buying other assets that will continue to appreciate, continue to cash flow. That's why I love real estate, because you can leverage deals. So if you own a $1 million project, you don't need $1 million of cash, right? You need 300 grand or 400 grand to own that deal. Go lower if your price is lower. My point is, think about, like, debt is your friend, especially in an inflationary market, right? Where cash is actually trash. Like, the value of the dollar is only going down, right? Because inflation is increasing at 7%. And so, that cash flow that's coming in, I mean, yeah, it's nice to see, but really, you can only live off of so much cash flow. Like, there's only so much he can do with that. So I'm like, dude, forget about the cash flow right now. You don't really need it. Take your equity and go invest that in other assets that are going to appreciate, so that when you do need the cash flow, you're not just relying on one deal, but you have multiple deals that are paying you. And so this is how you play the multiplication game of real estate, and this is how you really leverage good debt to buy great assets that One day we'll give you options when you're ready to live off of it. That's how you think wealthy. That's how you play this game. If you like this, make sure you subscribe, leave me a comment, let me know what you think about this. What are some other bad investing advices that you got? I'd love to hear in the comments. Appreciate all your support. Cheers, friends.